Hello, my name is Ralph Shattock. I'm Regional Market Manager for Europe, and I'm here today to talk to you a little bit about some of the additives that we do here. Okay, this specifically is a test for nitrogen that we have at BG. It is not our test, it is a standard test for nitrogen only in the industry. Okay, and the way we do that is by taking our little kit here, which is called the 995 kit, Deposit Control Additive Fuel Test Kit. Okay, and this is a complete kit that comes from BG, and it contains all the products that you're going to need to test diesel or petrol for nitrogen. Okay. Also along here we need some of the additives, the BG additives. So I've got here 244, I've got 227, which is a maintenance product. I have a product from PowerServe, and then I also have a product here from Howes. Okay, one of the more common ones out there in the marketplace. So what we're going to do is we're going to look for a comparative in nitrogen content in these products. And nitrogen is very important in this process of cleaning a vehicle up. Nitrogen to us means amine chemistry. Amine, A-M-I-N-E. Okay? Now the way we get this is we take a base stock fluid, such as ether or butanes. Okay? Now we're looking for polyether amine or polybutene amine in there. Amine has nitrogen content. Poly means many. Okay? So I've got many molecules of ether. Ether, 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 ether. Okay? On each molecule of ether, there are 5 atoms of hydrogen attached to it. If I remove some of the hydrogen, which makes it very explosive, and you know how explosive ether can be, okay? If I remove some of those molecules of hydrogen and replace them with nitrogen, we actually become a cleaner. And that makes it amine chemistry. So we got poly, ether, amine. If my base stock is butane, then I got polybutene amines. Okay? Butenes work differently from an ether as a base stock. A polybutene amine, which is mostly found with, let's say, Shell gasolines, which are nitrogen enriched, they will clean the injectors and they will clean the valves. But because they burn in the combustion chamber, they will actually increase the deposits in the combustion chamber. Up to 150% is permissible. Okay? That's quite a considerable amount of deposit increase. But they will clean the injectors and the valves, and that's all they talk about. According to the Worldwide Fuel Charter, the only chemistry that will clean the entire combustion chamber, the entire fuel process, is polyetheramine chemistry, which is what we use. So this test was designed to look for nitrogen. I cannot tell you what the nitrogen form is, whether it's polybutenes, polychronic, polyetheramines, or whatever. But here's a test for nitrogen, and it can be referred to as a test. Before we start, we take the caps off everything. Okay? These are our what they call titrants. Okay? You'll notice there's 2 different ones, Titrant A and Titrant B. Don't ask me what's in them. They are Titrant A and Titrant B. Okay, I'm not a chemist. First of all, we put our glasses on, okay, which I forgot to mention before. So, to start this whole process off, I need to test the fuel first for additives that I'm going to use. Okay, so I take my 10 milliliters of diesel fuel. Now I'm going to test this to see how much additive is present in the fuel. If I was doing a petrol one or gasoline one, I would do the same thing and just put gasoline up to this 10 milliliter mark. Then I take my Titrant B and put 5 drops into here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. If there is nitrogen present, this will change color to a blue or purple color. You see the change in that? Just very slightly blue or purple. Now I need to test and see how strong is the additive package in there by adding this one, Titrant A, to it, 1 drop at a time. When it turns back to its original color, that tells me how strong it is. And there is a chart that comes in the kit that tells you and informs you what this fuel will do. One drip. Starting to turn. Okay? Back to its original color. So it has one drip of cleaner in there. So it has a little bit of nitrogen. Okay? Now what this chart says is for one drop to 4 drops will keep fuel injectors clean. That's it. Keeps the fuel injectors clean. Obviously slightly better if there's 4 drops than if there's 1. But 1 to 4 keeps the fuel injectors clean. Now we're going to test the additives. We know what's in the diesel fuel itself. So I pour that in my slop bucket, ever present, and I just give it a quick little rinse out with some fresh fuel, just to swirl it around. I don't want anything too much left behind, any residual. Then I put 10 milliliters of fuel in there again. So let's test one of the biggest selling products in the marketplace, power service. Okay. What we need to do is get our little dropper and we put 2 drips of product in there. If you hold it upright, the drips are smaller. If you put your hand to the side, the drips actually become a little bigger. So we want to try and be fair, so we do it the same for everybody. So here we go on the side. 1, 2 drips. So now I have their cleaner in there as well as the regular diesel fuel. We know the diesel fuel took 5 drops, 1 drop, I beg your pardon. Now I'm going to add 5 drops of this one again, the same as I did the first time. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And we swirl that around. Are we going to get a blue color? Yes, we are, because we had some already for the fuel on its own. Okay? Now we know that originally it took 1 drop to neutralize the fuel. So there's my 1 drop. Okay? Has it added anything to it? We still have a blue color. So there is some cleaner available in this. Okay? There is some cleaner available left in here, some nitrogen. So we'll add another drop. 1 drop. Oh. So it did 1 drop's worth of cleaning. Okay? Would you agree that's back to its original color again? I'm not waiting for your answer. Yes, it is. Okay? So we pour it away. We now know that power service has enough cleaner in there to still keeps fuel injectors clean. That's it. Just keeps fuel injectors clean. Rinse it out again. Let's try another of the competitors. Let's try Howell's. I like to use this one. Okay, there's a reason for that. $10 milliliters of fuel. Again, we've got to be consistent because we don't want people telling us we cheated or anything like that, which they will do. A new dropper. I take some Howell's in there, put 2 drops on the side. 1, 2. Okay. Swirl that around a little bit. Add my 5 drops of Titrant. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Boy, doesn't look very strong, does it? We've got a little bit of color change, just the blue. Remember, it took 1 drop for the fuel on its own. Let's see what it does. 1 drip. Completely back. So this did not add any nitrogen content, any cleaner at all to the fuel. Doesn't matter how big the bottle is. If there's no cleaner in it, it makes not the slightest bit of difference as far as cleaning out your system goes. Just the fuel on its own did. I actually met Mr. Howell at one of the meetings and discussed it with him. He didn't know what polyether amine chemistry was. He didn't have a clue what we were doing with this demonstration at all, this test. So said he would come back and talk to us. Of course, he never turned up. I need to still clean out my equipment. Okay, even though there was nothing there, I still want to follow exactly the same procedures every single time. Okay, so now I've rinsed out my bottle. Let's go back again and we're going to add 10 milliliters of fuel, which again we know has some nitrogen content, 1 drop. So this time we'll try some BG. This one is our shock treatment product, 244. You use this in between 20 to 40 gallons of diesel fuel. Okay, 75 to 150 liters of diesel fuel. 1 liter of this would work. So we're going to test drop for drop with the other products. 2 drips. 1, 2. Okay. Then swirl it around a little bit. Now we add our 5 drops of Titrant B to see how much nitrogen is present. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You can see as soon as I start to put it in there, we start to get a color change. Nice blue color. Okay. Now let's see how much nitrogen is present when we do this. Don't forget the nitrogen shows you how strong it is, how much cleaning ability it has. We don't know what type of nitrogen in this test. Okay. 1, that's for the fuel. Still looks nice and blue. 2, 3, 4, 5. I'll put 6, that means we've had 5 drops for the 244. Still looks blue. I'm going to go on a little faster. 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. Okay, so 15 drops now. We have definitely strengthened this rather dramatically. When I look at 15 drops on this chart here that comes inside the kit, 10 to 15 drops keeps entire fuel system clean, not just injectors. Okay, cleans the fuel injectors in 250 to 1500 miles. Cleans intake ports and valves in 2,500 to 7,500 miles. Not bad, not bad. But we're not finished yet. Okay. 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30. Know what you're dealing with before you start doing it as fast as this. 30 drops. Quite impressive. Still nice and blue. It only goes as far as 6+ drops here. 6+ drops. Keeps entire fuel system clean. Gives rapid cleanup of the entire fuel system. When you say entire, you're talking about everywhere where there's carbon. Because don't forget, this type of chemistry does not burn. So it actually passes through the combustion chamber, will go down and clean your sensors and your catalytic converter as it goes down past. So we're doing a complete cleanup on this whole process. 30, 31, 32, 33, 34, 35, 36, 37, 38, 39, 40. So how many for this one? 1 drop. So we need 40 times as much of this to do what we're doing here. 40 times as much. 41, 42, 43, 44, 45, 46, 47, 48, 49, 50. So, how many people are going to put 50 bottles of this in there to clean their system? 51, 52, 53, 54, 55. We're starting to see a little bit of change now. 55, 56, 57, 58, 59, 60. Couple more. 61, 62. Almost there. Some contamination in this. 63, 64, 65. I think we got it. 65 drops. So we need 65 times as much of this to do the same amount of cleaning, if that's polyether amine. We know it's nitrogen, but we don't know what it is. We do know what BG is. Quite a considerable difference. That is a shock treatment to clean it up. This is a maintenance item. 1 litre, 1 quart of this will do 2,500 quarts. Okay? Maintenance. Lubrication, cleaning, keeping it all the system clean afterwards, but the entire system. Lubrication is a very important part in diesel injectors at the moment. There's a lack of lubrication. We keep it lubricated beautifully with this whole system cleaner. So, do you want to see that one? Okay, I'm going to say no. I can tell you what it goes to roughly, about 110 drops as far as that goes. So what does that say for the difference here? Maintenance or maintenance? Which is going to do the most? This one? It's a beautiful big bottle for a cheap price. But if it doesn't do anything for you, what's the point? Okay? It's nice and light, so it actually will help with your combustion in cold weather. Will help it start better, but it's not doing any cleaning, it's just helping with the combustion process. So you could almost run your vehicle on that. I can tell you it's just about completely kerosene. That's all it is. We believe in additives. Polyether amine chemistry. The only chemistry that cleans the entire fuel system, from the pump and the tank right the way through the catalytic converter. One thing I wanted to mention to you about all of this is, you see the signs up behind us about going green? Okay, this is the big catchword at the moment for most of the fleets out there. Most people are worried about going green. Remember, there's a couple of different facets to this. First of all, we're going to clean up your system. When you have a clean system, it's like when you had a brand new car. We use less fuel, we waste less fuel. That means we've got less hydrocarbons coming out of the tailpipe. Okay, that's unburnt fuel. Then we have less carbon monoxide coming out of there as well, less pollutants coming out that side. We burn at a lower burn temperature, so we have less NOx coming out of there, oxides of nitrogen coming out of there. The other thing to remember is the big one right now is carbon dioxide, CO2. Now, carbon dioxide comes from the fuel itself. So, the more fuel I use, the more carbon dioxide is produced. If every gallon of petrol contains approximately 20 pounds of carbon dioxide. It actually produces 20 pounds of carbon dioxide as it combusts during the combustion process. So if I can clean your engine up and get you better miles per gallon, we're going to save you 20 pounds of carbon dioxide output for every gallon that you've saved on your fuel consumption. Okay? It is slightly higher with diesel than it is with petrol. Just slightly higher. But whatever you do when you're cleaning your car is going to save the ecology tremendous amounts of output. So we want your car running as clean as we possibly can. This is the reason why this works so well for everybody out there.